Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 32 of our WWE 2021 Save in TEW 2020. This is our SummerSlam Preview, and as mentioned on the previous couple episodes, this will be pretty short. Just wanted to sort of set the stage for what you can expect at SummerSlam, and if people want to jump into the series, they're new, and they don't have a chance to go back and necessarily start from the beginning, which, as I always say, I would highly suggest, because that will help you get a full grasp of the storylines that we have built up. But if you're new and you just want to jump in, this can be sort of a starting point so you know what the card is and perhaps can have a little bit of what to expect at SummerSlam. Although, like I mentioned, if you don't know the storylines, it's going to be much harder to probably get the full effect of it. But let's talk about SummerSlam here. If we look at our events, we know this is our next show that we have coming up. It is going to be SummerSlam. I did set the time to run to 2.5 hours versus I think it's usually in this mod, it's set at 4. I just, we've talked about this before. I just think it's, as we did with Raw, we cut Raw down to 2 hours. Pay-per-views, I think 2.5 hours, great time. We're not going to have a lot of matches that are going to go 30 plus minutes or anything. So we do have quite a few matches on the card too. So not really of importance, but just for the visual part of it, it is going to be a 2.5 hour show. Someone also mentioned previously in one of the episodes, if main event was something we're doing. Of course, we haven't shown that on any of our episodes thus far, but we just have that as dormant. It just booking 2 shows a week, as I've said, is just kind of where things stand. Don't really have any interest in booking a 3rd show each week, so we just use the pre-show for that, and we go from there. But let's talk about this SummerSlam card. Going into it, we can look at the pre-booking here, and I can filter this to SummerSlam, although it doesn't really matter, as this is something we're played with the pre-booking off, so it kind of is what it is. But this is what we've had set, and as I've mentioned before, I've set a lot of this in advance. I pretty much knew the SummerSlam card probably even before Great American Bash, so that's been, over a month or so now. We had pretty much everything set the way we wanted it with this, so you can see I pre-booked pretty much everything here 19 days ago, whatever that would have been. So that's kind of where things are at. If we look at the card, we can start with some of the undercard stuff, which AJ Styles and Big E, we've had that going on Raw. That's been a lot of fun to sort of set up. Of course, the stage is set for AJ Styles trying to escape Big E and not wanting to be around him. All this other stuff. Scared of him, essentially, is what it is. And I can't blame AJ Styles because if I had Big E staring across the ring at me, I would probably be a little intimidated as well. So that should be a good one. I think this will be one of our better matches on the show from a rating standpoint. Both of these two are pretty over. And I would not expect anything less than, a very good match out of these two. We've got our Intercontinental Championship match, which we set up on SmackDown, which is going to be Apollo Crews defending against the returning Keith Lee, who has had a couple matches since he came back and interrupted the Intercontinental Championship Festival of Apollo Crews. And so we set that up. So I'm interested to see what kind of match we get out of this because these are two guys that popularity-wise not that over, but they're not too bad either. I think they're both in the 60s, somewhere in there. Maybe Keith Lee, maybe lower, upper 50s, maybe, I'm not sure. But that's kind of where things stand on those. I would go to the roster, but I don't want to give anything away in case you see anyone on the roster that may be a surprise coming up in the future. So I don't want to give anything away on that. But I think that'll be an interesting match, though. Intercontinental Championship on the line there. And then we've got our Raw Women's Championship triple threat match between Bayley, Sasha Banks, Io Shirai. As we know, the reasoning behind this is because Rhea Ripley has been injured, and we had to vacate the championship there with her very early on in our save. And so we built up this big triple threat match here with Io Shirai being the call-up from NXT and kind of being that third mystery person in this match, which we eventually unveiled. And so it'll be these three. We built a little bit of tension between Bayley and Sasha heading into this. So that adds an interesting dynamic. Another match that I really expect. I mean, I keep talking about the SummerSlam card, and I have been for a while now here on the save, but I expect this to be another one that really delivers and gives us a really good match rating. And I think this one, should be a lot of fun and sort of sets the stage for the direction we're going to head in after SummerSlam with our Raw Women's Championship. Speaking of championships from the women's side, we will have the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is going to be Bianca Belair defending against Charlotte Flair. I've said before too, we pretty much built this match from the beginning, like from the very start of the save, all the way back in June of week 1. I think we sort of set things up then, looking at, this possibility of getting to this match at some point down the road. That was kind of where things stood. Actually, we're going to look at that real quick here. If we go all the way back and look at our show history here, we go all the way back to the very first SmackDown, which did not do great from a rating standpoint. But we had Charlotte call out Bianca Belair. So all the way back at the beginning, like we started building this SmackDown Women's title match then, and I just think that, we kind of built a little bit along the way. Asuka got the match against Bianca at Great American Bash, but along the way, we just really built up, this, and we set the, kind of seeds for this early on, and now I think it's interesting to see what the match looks like here. Of course, the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is going to be Charlotte being in extremely poor form, which we know is just something that has knocked her match rating. So I don't know exactly what to expect from a match rating standpoint, but I still think it should be pretty good with this one. Our Raw Championship, our big championship match from the Raw side. This is sort of our Raw main event of SummerSlam, which will be the big one. Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan. This is, again, we know the main event of the show is going to be Reigns and Cena, just to go ahead and let that cat out of the bag. You probably already knew that, but this is our double main event here. Like this is it. Like this should be great. I think these two are going to work really well together. I didn't do any house show booking in advance to see if there was chemistry there with these two. At least I don't think I did. I could be wrong on that. I try to use the house show booking for a lot of stuff to really see if there's any chemistry there on some of that, but I don't think I actually did that with these two. But I don't anticipate there being bad chemistry or anything. I think this should be a really good match, and of course we can come back to this video if I'm wrong, if they do have bad chemistry or something. But I just think these two are going to work really well together. We know from a rating standpoint these are two of the most over people on Raw, or probably the two most over people on Raw, maybe aside from Edge, or there's probably Orton's up there too. But these two are really over, and so I am really excited for this match. I'm really excited for kind of the direction this match is going to lead us in. And, I will say, and I don't want to, kind of give anything away here, but I'm really looking forward to these two main events. I think they are going to be, certainly what everyone's going to be talking about coming out of this show. And these are the two big matches, and I think they're going to deliver exactly the way we want them to. So, yes, very looking forward to this one. And also looking forward to Bray Wyatt against Drew McIntyre. This has been, kind of brewing for a while now, too, with Bray playing the mind games with Drew, all this stuff, and, just these different sort of Bray Wyatt-esque, things he's played up, just with storylines and everything he's trying to kind of put into Drew McIntyre's head. It's frustrated McIntyre, all of this stuff. I've had fun with the build of this one. We know things kind of turned up a notch at Great American Bash when you had, Drew McIntyre beating Bray down and he starts laughing at him and all this other stuff. So we're really trying to do some things with this Bray Wyatt character, but also we want to make sure that Drew, is in a pretty good spot here too. And I think putting these two together, another match, two really over workers. I would expect great things, 75 or higher is my hope for this match. I think this should be really good with these two. So this is another one I think that can hit that 80 mark ratings-wise. So that's what we're looking for. And then we have the Raw SmackDown, or excuse me, the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match. We got a lot going on here with the Edge versus Cesaro versus Sheamus versus Ricochet versus Rey Mysterio versus Montez Ford. We know the big storyline here is that pretty much everyone in this match has, in some way, shape, or form, been sort of brutalized, seemingly, heading into this with the whole, backstage attacks and frustration and just everything is kind of boiled over. And I will tell you, I think this is, all the build to all this stuff's been great, but I think this is the one I've probably had the most fun with, just based on, as you've seen the attacks play out and just the frustration with different people and all that stuff. We've seen Edge's frustration. There's just been a lot of stuff that I've loved about the build to this. And so I think, again, this should be a good match. You've got 6 people in there. Edge is going to be the most over of the group from a popularity standpoint, but you've got good workers. Cesaro is getting more and more over. which we'll look at all this stuff after SummerSlam. We'll do our State of WWE. We'll look at kind of the overness. I want to get into that a little bit more with you guys on where the popularity stands with some of these people after SummerSlam. But I think this could be good, and hopefully Ricochet doesn't ruin it, because he ruins everything, according to the emails I get every single week from Stone Cold Steve Austin and everyone else. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I am expecting big things from this match here for our Raw Money in the Bank. This one, Kevin Owens defending the United States title against Goldberg. Here's another one I think that has the potential to hit a pretty high number, although it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what we decide to do with this from a length standpoint, because I will tell you that Goldberg matches, when I booked those before, they have to be pretty short. And so this is one that I would not anticipate being, a 10-plus minute match. I don't see that happening. But it is going to be interesting. We built up the dynamic that Goldberg wants the United States title. That's where kind of everything started for him in his career, and he wants to end it that way by defeating Kevin Owens, who has just been on a tear recently with his U.S. title open challenge and all that good stuff. So I think this is going to be great stuff here from Kevin Owens and Goldberg. Another match could be really good. Actually, it's going to be the women's championships here on the line. Our first time defending them in our series, which, we look at this here. And, it just hasn't really been a whole lot to do. They've had the titles now for 104 days. They haven't defended them at all. We've talked about it before. We just don't have a stacked women's tag team division. I'm going to try to change that after SummerSlam. That is in the works. It's in our plans moving forward. But to this point, we just have not had the depth. We have not had the build the way we want it. And so we're going to try to do that, and I think this is going to be a big first step towards doing that with our women's championship match, or tag team championship match here that we're going to have with Italian Tamina defending against Shayna and Sonya. So I will tell you right now, I'm going back and forth on this before I actually book the show. This may wind up on the pre-show, not sure, but I haven't decided yet on what we're going to do with that. But nonetheless, this will mark a pretty significant turning point, I think, for our women's tag team division. Let's go down to these, and then we'll get to this one here at the end. The Usos and the New Day will square off one-on-one. I think it's the first time, actually, we've done this in our save. We've had the triple threat match, all that stuff, but our first actual one-on-one, or two-on-two, I guess you could say, square off these two by themselves in the ring with the Usos and the New Day. Again, I think this should be a really good match. I think it's going to give us a good rating and, only help what could be a pretty historic SummerSlam. So, looking forward to this one. The New Day finally get their, actual shots in a two-on-two match versus having a lot of other people in the ring there as well. So I think this could be another fun one. I'm not going to click on this one here. We're just going to go ahead and click on Reigns and Cena. But we will talk about the SmackDown Money in the Bank match, which will include Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, Jeff Hardy, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and a person to be named at SummerSlam. So I'm not going to click on it because I don't want you to see who's in there. So that is just a little tease to add to that. Also looking forward to the SmackDown match here because, we've got some talent in there, and I think the person we're going to add as the mystery signing for SmackDown also going to bring a lot of talent, really going to help us, I think, with the depth on SmackDown. Having another star on there never hurts. So I think that's really going to help with our SmackDown signing from Mick Foley. And we'll see who comes out on top in this one. This has been another one I think it's been fun to build. You got a lot of interesting talents in here. We had Damian Priest score the Flash win over Rollins, so that was kind of fun. So we built up some good stuff here. So I'm curious to see what this one looks like from a match rating standpoint. And then, of course, it will be the main event. Roman Reigns, John Cena. This is going to be fantastic stuff. I'm really looking forward to this. If we go to our storylines and we really look at everything that's going on with Roman Reigns and John Cena leading into this. Of course, it's a hot storyline at 81 overall, doing really well with this. And, you can kind of peruse through a lot of these, and you can see Mr. 100 here doing his thing. Just a lot of great stuff we've had from Roman Reigns. Of course, there's our other one. And we've had a lot of great stuff. And I think this is, this big point for this storyline at SummerSlam. It's going to be great. I'm really excited to see what number we get out of Reigns and Cena because I am fascinated to figure out what we're going to get out of this. I think it's going to be awesome. But This is going to be our main event, and it's going to be the biggest thing we do on the show. I have no doubt from a rating standpoint. So there's a reason it's the main event, and it should be great. And if we actually run through some of the other stuff we've got here real quick, with some of our other storylines and such, the SmackDown Money in the Bank, we only put these guys in there, which I don't even know why Kofi's in there. I don't pay a ton of attention to the storylines sometimes. I know that's, can sound counterproductive when you're playing a game like this, but we just, the build to SummerSlam, it's just kind of been go, 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 and I really haven't paid a ton of attention to adding in the little intricacies within the storylines. But, Bray and Drew, 79 over, doing great. Kevin Owens at U.S. title open challenge at a 70. Even the Raw women's title triangle, 67, so it's getting close to that 70. This, I guess from a number standpoint, yeah, this is the best thing we have going in, is the Lashley and Bryan thing, storyline-wise. So, great stuff everywhere, and I'm thrilled with this. I think this is going to be awesome. SummerSlam is going to be fantastic, and I would be disappointed if there's any other outcome for this show. I think you guys are going to love it. We kind of laughed about doing, in the comments, we laughed about maybe doing a prediction contest and all this. I don't know what to offer. That's kind of the joke we made in the comments, I know. I don't know what to say, okay, well, you guys can book the main event for WrestleMania. I don't want to give you that much power, but maybe there's something we can come up with. So we can do this for the pay-per-views moving forward if we want. We don't have to do it for this one, but if you guys have any suggestions on what we could do as a predictions contest, which I want you to leave your predictions. Nonetheless, even though we're not really doing a contest, officially here, but leave your predictions in the comments. What do you think is going to happen at SummerSlam? I'm curious to see what you think heading into it. Let me know what you think on these matches. Even if you don't want to make a pick for every single match, that's fine. Let me know your thoughts heading into SummerSlam, what you expect to see. But also let me know if you have any suggestions on, hey, let's do a predictions contest with some of these pay-per-views moving forward. And maybe there's something cool we can come up with. Look, maybe you get to book a Raw main event or a SmackDown main event, or you get to pick the next person to be called up from NXT. I think there's some cool ideas we can work with this. So let me know what you think. I'd love to start doing that, make these things a little bit more interactive. That would be a lot of fun. So let me know what you think in the comments. I want to keep this one kind of short, like I said, because, we know everything's ready for SummerSlam. And as I mentioned, Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern. That is the plan to publish SummerSlam. If anything changes, I will comment in this video and let you know if we're going to move that to Monday or something like that. But as of now, Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern, SummerSlam 2021. It is going to be a lot of fun, so be sure to kick back and get ready for a show that is going to propel us forward in a very significant way. So coming up will be SummerSlam. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And on the next episode, yes, we finally made it. SummerSlam